I thought, another good practice today, some more situational type work, which was good. I know you guys probably have questions, so I'm going to go ahead and address Jameis. Jameis, basically kind of sprained his foot a little bit yesterday. He's really day-to-day. I don't really think it's going to be that big of a challenge, but certainly, we're going to make sure that we get him back healthy before we put him back out here.
Which foot is it?
Right.
Is it safe to assume he won't play Saturday?
Correct.
Do you have any kind of hope for when you'd like to get him back on the field?
No, look, again, we're not going to get into a big discussion on this, but he's day-to-day. We don't feel like it's anything significant, so, I think it'll be a couple of days, and then here we go.
So it's sprained right foot, the correct?
That would be the correct
Way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only all day today.
Exactly.
Obviously, you see the comfortableness Andy Dalton has with all those different starts, and it seems like every practice he just makes those throws then.
Yeah, look, Andy's done a good job. It's why Andy's here, because he's got a lot of experience, and he started in our league and performed at a high level. So that's why he's here, and it's comforting to know that you have that there if you need it.
Mike Thomas's day, again, I think I've asked that like 5 times now, but Mike Thomas again catching. You got to encouraged by what you're seeing every day?
Yeah, no question. I think every day it gets a little bit better. And I think we're seeing that with a lot of guys. I mean, obviously, he's kind of the big story because he's coming off the injury and really hadn't played much in a couple of years. And we're all excited about having Mike back. He's attacked every part of his rehab with the same way you see him come out here and practice every day. He's 110% in everything that he does, and he's done a really nice job of getting himself ready. I think he's in a good spot again, and I'm excited to watch him play.
Dennis, when you look at coming up with the Texans, the return game, it seems like Aesop Winston is making plays. I know he had opportunity to return punts. Is that something you envision and utilizing him in preseason for that?
Yeah, well, without speaking out of turn, yes, that's a role that he can play. We really haven't discussed roles for the Texan game. I don't think we're at that spot yet. I know everybody really wants to know, but we have plenty of time before we get to that game to kind of figure out who we need to see, how much we need to see them, and all those kinds of things. So that'll be something that kind of takes place a little later in the week.
You had a couple of PI calls out here today, a couple of flags come out. Have you thought that, when looking back at the tape, have you thought that the handiness has been sort of borderline? Like, how would you describe where the physicality has been?
Yeah, I would. Number one, I would say it's good to have the officials out here because you kind of see what, there's some plays that there's some contact down the field that the officials let play out, and then there's some where you get called. So it's a good thing to have these guys out here because then you really have a feel for, okay, what can I and what can I do from a defensive perspective. And so we've been very physical on the line of scrimmage, and it's been productive for us, and it's good for us to test those boundaries and find out where that line is, and then certainly we got to know where the line is and not cross it.
Marcus Davenport was starting for the first time today.
Yeah.
Ramp up's been kind of the buzzword of camp.
Yeah, he's in the same position. I think we got him out here today for some walkthrough individual. That'll kind of be the routine probably for a few days, and then hopefully as we keep going, we'll begin to ramp him up into some pass rush drills or some 9-on-7 or maybe even some team reps at some point in time. But we're certainly not there yet.
How much of a jump have you seen with Adam Trout in year 2?
I think a pretty significant jump. I think he's really developing himself into that Y tight end role. He's probably one of our more well-rounded players, just in terms of blocking the perimeter, blocking on the edge, and also being a threat in the passing game. So I think I've seen some improvement, and hopefully we'll continue to have that. And I think one of the things why you see some of that is he's been healthy and been available throughout the off season, now into training camp, and it's hard for some of these young guys that have injuries to really make the improvement that you want to see him make. And he's been healthy, and I think that's why you're seeing some of that.
That catch you made over the middle in traffic in one of the later 11-on-11 periods, how do you evaluate that kind of play in a non-contact setting?
Well, look, it's kind of hard, as you sit here and watch it on the field, would it have been a completion? Would it have been a big hit? I mean, I think we have to take some of the good with the bad there, and knowing that, from a defensive perspective, man, we're playing all out, but yet we have to be smart in those situations where there could potentially be a collision. And so in those instances, we kind of err on the side of the caution. When you see we mark the ball there, it was in a 2-minute drill. We'll go up and watch the tape and see what happened.
Kind of same question, but like running back, when you're evaluating some guys that maybe haven't been here before, is that something where you see them in games where there's like tackling to the ground, so you break tackles and things like that?
Yeah, I think so. Again, there's a lot of guys that we have on the team that we have a pretty good idea of what we're getting, and there's some guys that we need to evaluate, and whether it be the running back position or a defensive back or whatever the case may be, I think at some point you have to play the game. And so for these guys that we're really, having to make a true evaluation on making the 53-man roster, I think, we certainly are going to have to see some of that.
Pete Werner has had a significant role in camp, kind of blitzing and covering a lot more in the slot. What can we kind of expect from him in an elevated coverage role this season?
I think we can expect him to, participate in it. I mean, he's a good player. He plays good in the run game, plays good in the passing game. He's a good athlete. He can run. And so those are some skill sets that we want to utilize and put him in position to be able to do that. And so at the will linebacker position, there's some times that he's going to be in some space matchups versus some really athletic players, whether it be runners, wideouts, whatever the case may be. And, he's going to have to function in that role for us, and we feel confident that he can.
Kirk Merits had some nice moments here throughout camp. Obviously, he's a local guy, so there's a lot of interest in him as well. Can you share a little bit about what you've seen so far from him through the first 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, I've seen a player that gradually has kind of caught my eye. Probably early on in the OTAs, I don't think he caught the ball as well as I would have liked. But then after 2 or 3 days, the next thing you know, he's making all these sideline toe tap catches. And so he's a guy that's caught my eye. I like his ability to run after the catch. So, look, we'll see. We'll get him out here in some game action and see what he can do.
Can you give us a sense, just recalling how you first approached addressing the position change with Taysom Hill, and just how you remember that all going?
Yeah, look, it really took place as a phone call, to Taysom. This spring, he's reacted incredibly well. He's a team guy. He's going to do anything that the team wants him to do for us to be successful. And that's really kind of how it was. And again, I feel like there's this, big discussion about Taysom Hill and like the role in what we've seen him do a lot. It's not the primary quarterback role, but we're still going to see him in a lot of those positions that we've played him at, throughout his time here, and he's been highly effective doing it.
As far as like the younger guys that you want to see them getting better on the offensive line, like a Landon Young or a Throckmorton. Is it saying to you they're more confident now compared to when they came in last year?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think, look, and the great thing about playing O&D line is every play you're involved in. There may be some plays as a wideout or a defensive back. I might be on the backside, and so I'm not really involved in the play. But every play, you really get to evaluate offensive and defensive linemen, and so that's been good for us, and I think they're improving. All good? Okay, thanks.
Like I said, the big thing everybody, of course, wants to know is how are you feeling? Feel good to finally get back out here today?
Yeah, more feeling blessed, able to start, and I want to say this was a good first day, so, just one of those things, still on the process.
Marcus, how do you feel where you're at right now, your conditioning? Could you play a game right now let's say, if it was a regular season like this weekend or a couple of weeks?
I don't really know. I feel like I still have more to kind of push through, and have to be something like when I get there, I'll be able to tell you. Really just the body acclimation. I'd have to say all these guys have been able to, do the whole off season, work out in this heat, and kind of do all our drills and go through it all. So, just kind of get my body acclimated back. But shoot, it's an ongoing process, so we'll see.
Marcus, does the finger impact anything with your pass rush, or does it feel pretty normal? Is there an adjustment there? Like how does that kind of affect you?
I guess with anything is sort of an adjustment, but honestly, I don't really think about it. Shoot, probably the main time I think about it is, when I'm lifting weights, so not too bad.
So it feels I know it's different, but everything feels pretty normal, just big things, and you don't.
Yeah.
How was the whole process for that this summer? Like after you got the surgery, did everything go smoothly? Do you have to have another surgery after that, or has it kind of been like smooth sailing since OTAs, I guess?
Yeah, it's really been smooth sailings. Since we talked, I'd say the only process or adjustments was, seeing that some of you guys took pictures and put it out there. Beyond that was pretty cool.
Was that like weird for you to see that? I guess you mentioned it specifically.
I think it'd be like anything. It was still relatively personal. And then, when you see it online and people, hey, look at this, you start to think a little bit. But I guess that's where I'm at right now.
So it did bother you a little?
Yeah.
It bothered you a little. Well, I didn't put any of those out, but I'm sorry that it bothered you.
It's cool.
Have you, I remember you were talking about reading Marcus Aurelius. Have you gotten further through that? How's that, what's your impression of him now?
My impression of Marcus Aurelius. I think he was one of the true philosopher kings. One of those people that had all this power and all this, control, and didn't really let it go to him. He tried to be just in a way that was really serving the people. Not many leaders out there like him, so just one of the good ones.
I haven't read Meditations. You recommend it?
Oh yeah. I'd just get out there and read, man. Whatever you want.
So when you're lifting weights, how does it? I guess you used to grip it a certain way, and now you have to grip it differently for certain. What is it like with free weights more? Or?
Not really. It's just how would I say it? It doesn't really impact anything. It's just something I notice. At this point, putting my hand on the ground, you notice things. Like it feels normal, but there's always gonna be something missing.
Marcus, have you talked to Jason Pierre-Paul, maybe his experiences, just because, I don't know, just maybe you feel like I can relate to you, I know where you're coming from?
Not exactly. I can't say, I haven't talked to him, but then again, relating would kind of still be hard. I say in any form of the sense, it's hard to really grasp what someone's, what happened to them and how they're adjusting. But yeah, there's not much that I can say on that. Health. Just trying to be able to stay on the field. I don't know. Focuses have been able to kind of slim down because at this point I just want to be healthy, and from there I can play.
Marcus, with all your experience now, do you feel like you can beat every offensive tackle in the National Football League? And the body of work you put out there, with your power and your speed?
I don't really think about it like that. I just have to have the belief anyway. So yeah, anybody that comes, I gotta win. It don't really matter what happened last year.
Marcus, I apologize. Sorry, guys, but are all your other injuries, you've had plenty of time to recover from those? Was that all done before you started training camp? I mean, you're fully healthy with shoulders.
I guess. At this point, I'm really just in the process of getting back and getting acclimated. Seeing whatever comes up from actually playing some football and starting to figure that out.
And how optimistic are you that this timetable is good, that you'll feel as good as you want to feel before the season starts?
Man, look, all right, I got a plan, and I guess I'm excited. We got a great, training staff, and we got the coaches behind, so, I think it's all coming together.
Do you feel like you were playing your best football yet of your career last season, or not necessarily?
I feel like I'm not there yet, and so, every day I really get the chance to, especially in these past couple months, really just sharpen my mind. Now I get to go make it physical. So the best is yet to come.
So when your persona just in social circumstances seems very introspective and laid back. Do you have to flip a switch when you're crossing the white line? Is your on-field persona different?
No, not really.
No?
It's kind of the same thing. I guess it's aggressive defense. I say what I want, react how I want, and from there, you have to react or I can correct you. So it's becoming life.
Have you had a chance to read or see any of the assessments that Cam Jordan has made about what type of player you've become? You haven't seen that. He was highly complimentary. I mean, he said that you mentioned how good your stats were for how little you played last year, how effective you were, and basically like a menace in the offensive backfield. Do you see yourself in that light, or?
Yeah, I can say the real thing just for me right now, I just be thinking I want to make every play. There should be no reason why I can't. Yeah, it's simple.
Can you speak to the addition of Matt Rhea and the impact that he's had so far since he's been here?
Oh man, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the whole weight room staff. Him, Clapp, Rob, Burr. We got a great staff, and just being able to see them working, over these past couple of weeks, getting work in with them, I'm really excited, especially for how my body can transform still.
All right, thank you.
Peace.
Appreciate it. Same to you.
How you doing, Ian?
Good, how you doing?
How productive or gratifying or both has it been to get the amount of snaps you're getting in training camp this year, being one of three instead of one of four?
Yeah, can't help but smile. I mean, it's great. Just even with OTAs too, just getting 14, 15 reps a day. And I know that's hard anywhere you go in the NFL. Reps are limited, and I'm just appreciative. I'm learning a lot, which is awesome. Getting out there, running with the twos, with the threes, whatever it may be. They're really vital reps, so now I can go out there and do it and see it, and just feel that much more comfortable with everybody. Chemistry's coming along.
And I imagine you'll already, probably by the end of this week, have more preseason game snaps too than you had all of last preseason.
Probably. We'll hear about the reps when they tell us, but I'm imagining so. Again, whatever it is, whatever they call, I'm going to be excited. I just want to go out there and play and get reps with these guys. there's nothing better than going out there and live bullets. That's how you really learn.
Ian, how has it been with Andy Dalton, like in meetings and just asking him questions? How has Dalton that relationship?
It's been awesome. Andy's just really taking me under his wing. It's I've been really fortunate here. I mean, last year I had Trevor and Taysom and Jameis, and then this year we add Andy, and just learned so much. Year 12, you can't ask for more. He's seen everything. He's been there for me. He takes his time to come up to me and say, "Hey, let's talk about that play when you get a second. You know, this is what I see. This is what I've done. Try this." I've taken a lot of things that he does, and I've already put it into my game. So, really appreciate him. It's been great.
Ian, can you speak from your perspective about Kirk Merritt, what you've seen with him so far with what you've done?
He's doing really good. Yeah, just working with him again in OTAs and right now, his speed. You know, we were talking about it yesterday. Nobody's getting a hand on him off the line. So you see it in one-on-ones today. You see it in team and 7-on-7. His speed is awesome. And then just he always knows where to line up. You know, he's never asking what the play. He knows everything. He's in the playbook. He works hard. You see him doing extra stuff daily. So it's paying off, and excited to play with him in the preseason too.
Ian, looking at like your ability to scramble, make plays with your feet, you know, it's hard sometimes to judge out here. But that's something in the preseason game with actually tackling that you can judge that ability as far as your running ability.
Yeah, I think it's good to have in my arsenal, I guess. Easier to do it in college than it is in the NFL. I've learned that the hard way a few times, but you know, I don't want to lean on it. But if it happens, shoot, like a 2-minute yesterday, run to get the first, get down, be safe, move on to the next play. My job is to move the ball down the field, however that is. But it's different in the league for sure. But I got it, and I think I can get away from a few guys if I have to. But again, that's all reaction, and it'll be good to see how it works in the preseason.
Ian, you also threw a lot of passes to Michael Thomas today, I noticed.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, you really probably haven't had tons of reps with him, I would assume.
No, I haven't. When he's been going with Jameis. So today was cool. Got to throw him a dagger in team, so that was fun. It's just getting to know him, just seeing how he attacks every day. I mean, these practice reps mean everything to him, like they should to everybody. So, pretty cool to be out there and just see the way that he practices. It's pretty cool.
Are you looking for Michael Thomas because you know he's probably going to catch it, or the field presenting, look who's open? And I mean, because
we have our reads. Don't get me wrong, but he's one of the best receivers for a reason. So. That's the good thing about having him, but also the hard thing about being a quarterback sometimes. But if you watch him, he's pretty much open every play. So you got to get through your reads and do what we're taught. But having him out there, there's a big emphasis. Teams know that, and we know that.
Sorry if this has been asked before, but is it unique or special to just throw to another guy in a red jersey? And can you talk about kind of like what presents Taysom like as a receiver, as a route runner, what kind of stands out?
Yeah. Taysom's been great when he was in the quarterback room with me and now at tight end. I mean, everybody knows his abilities. I mean, he's a freak athlete to just, you know, go do tight end reps one day and ask him to throw. And, like, not many people can do that. So, you know, I really respect Taysom for that. And it's really his speed. Like, he can just pull away from people. And he's got, you know, a natural God-given ability to catch the football when he was, you know, a quarterback his whole life. So it's pretty special. He's unique to have on a team. When I'm out there with him, I'm trying to get him the ball a little bit.
Makes it easier to find.
That's right. It's my guy. So, yeah, I just like working with him. And he can see the field different now that he's played quarterback. Now you can go to tight end. It definitely helps.
Yeah. What's something you may have seen in Jameis this year that you didn't see last year?
Ooh. I mean, Jameis is consistent day in and day out. You know, to me, it's the same. Like, his hard work it's different. He really is here first. He really does leave last. And just trying to work out with him, trying to do stuff, like, it's hard. I mean, he really puts in work, and he's been awesome to me. We're locker buddies in there. We talk about life. We talk about football, and he just cares about football 24/7. So, not that changed, but that's still sticking out to me.
When you say Mike is open on pretty much every play,
Can you describe a little more what you mean? I mean, 'cause he's not just running away from people. Is it because of the way he uses physicality to get good position, or footwork,
It's a little bit of everything. I would say his physicality. He's so violent when he runs, and he can create separation that way. I mean, he's a big body that, from what I've observed and just been able to see this year with his time, he just creates space. He understands space on the field and like what the quarterback is looking for, and that's special in a receiver. Not everybody has that, and just his ability to find that green grass, as quarterbacks would say, is pretty special. That's what really helps him.
And with Kirk Merritt, now I know body language can be deceiving sometimes, but could you describe what you see with his body language on the field, like what he's saying to you and the way he's approaching practice with his gesticulations and his spike in the end zone 15 feet high and all that stuff?
It's good to see him celebrating his hard work, but he's calm, very calm and collected. You know, after a period ends and I come off to the sideline, he wants to know, like, hey, like, what happened on that corner out today in one-on-ones? What did you see? Just wants to work on his game daily. He's in the locker room early, stretching, doing all this stuff, like really he really prepares his body for practice. That's something I've also noticed. And then playbook-wise, just knowing all the splits. I mean, we got an offense that can be confusing for people, and he's done a great job of just being in the right spot at the right time.
Going into your second year with Ronald Curry in that quarterback room, how has y'all's relationship continued to take a step forward working together?
It's been great. RC's taught me a lot. Just from last year till now, just we've made so much progress. I feel like the playbook is just something I've really gotten to just understand so much more. And he's there every day. I mean, we're texting about plays, what we see. He understands the quarterback position. I feel like that's huge in a quarterback coach role. He understands, like, this is what we want to do, but this could happen. You know, like, he's not. He just understands what it is to play quarterback, which is really big for me. And yeah, he's up there cutting up film for us, putting us in the right position, and I appreciate everything he's done so far.
Hey, and I asked Tony this the other day, but you got any good Ryan Kelly starts?
I got a lot. I can't tell. No, I'm just kidding. No, BK's great. I'm excited for him at LSU. You know, no stories really stick out more than just like game day when he's just screaming at me, and then at the end of the game we win something and it goes the right way, and he comes up to me and he's like, this is what it's all about. You know, this is what happens when you don't fold, you keep fighting, and that's what we do here at Notre Dame. We win, and those are the moments that I'll remember. You know, he pushed me to be my best, and he gave me my opportunity to play. So excited to see LSU. I've never been up there. I also want to try to go to a game. So
you think even with the screaming, he still relates well to the modern young college athlete?
Yeah, no. I mean, I like a coach that's, you know, demands a lot from us, and he did that to the quarterback position, and I appreciated it. But at the end of the day, he wins wherever he goes, right? I mean, people are wondering if he's going to fit into the culture or what. I mean, he's going to go down there, he's going to demand excellence, and he's going to win football games. So excited to see that.
Were you surprised LSU was able to pry him away from Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised a little bit, but I understand the coaching world and the opportunities that they get, just like us players. So I'm just excited for him. It's a great gig for him, and he's a Notre Dame man regardless. He gave it his all at Notre Dame, so cannot be mad at him.
More than a decade.
Yeah.
So do you get to have you been able to talk to him much?
So we've talked a few times. He texted me on my start against the Dolphins. He actually went to the game, texted me, said he was at my first start in college, wanted to be at my first start in the league, so that was pretty cool. So I know he was up there in the box watching. But my next thing is to go out there and see him. So got a lot of people out there I got to go see. Cool. Good? Yeah, thanks.
So how do you feel so far, physically?
Yeah, this camp has been a little bit of a whirlwind for me. Overall, I'm feeling good. You know, I'm still in this kind of ramp-up phase, obviously coming off the foot, and I feel like the foot did really well this offseason, the first couple days, and then I had the ribs, and so now I'm just starting to ramp up again and take it one day at a time.
Is the foot good? I mean, is that over with now, or is it something you still?
I mean, I think a Liz Frank is never over with, but it feels good. Like, I feel like I can do everything I need to do right now, and it's just being able to handle the volume that I'm going to be asked to do, and so we're just trying to gauge what that is and what that looks like. But overall, I'm very happy with where my foot is.
Does it feel
expect
similar?
that volume to include some new things that Dennis has said a few times that you're going to be doing all the things you've done before. Might the volume also include some new things you haven't done yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think the ribs was kind of obviously bad timing. You know, it was like as we started camp, it was going to get me exposure to doing different things and seeing what I was comfortable with, what everyone was comfortable with. But I think that question is still to be determined, and I don't know what that's going to look like. But I think from what we've done in the past, we'll continue to build on that and see where we go.
I remember last off season you kind of like tailored your workouts and changed your body a little bit coming in. Did you have to kind of rebuild and go back this off season?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing when you have a season-ending injury, last game of the season for me, so much emphasis gets put on getting that injury right, and so a lot of emphasis goes there, and it takes away from like you trying to be better a football player.
Right.
And normally I enter off season, I have a few things that I want to focus on and be really deliberate with, but when you have an injury like this, you've got to tailor everything there. And so I would say most of my emphasis this off season was making sure my foot was strong, making sure that I was able to do everything I would need to.
Hey, do you view yourself like playing with a flak jacket? You know, because the aggressive nature that you are with the rib injury, is that something that you could see yourself doing?
Are you talking like the old school?
No,
like,
I mean, you do like
what
custom
are we
fit,
talking about?
You know, not the big barrel, but
Yeah.
custom fit. You know.
Yeah, I have a custom, rib protector and something that they made me that, has like a little dimple in the front to take away pressure of where the rib was displaced. And so we'll continue to at this point, you got to make sure you're not taking unnecessary risk to re-injure that area, but protect it. And so I've got that. I imagine I'll be wearing that for a while.
Do you feel like you know the tight end position well, or are you still kind of learning the nuances of that
No,
position?
I'm still learning for sure. I think last year, the nice thing for me, I know some of the things they're going to ask me to do. And the reality is everything was just kind of like learn as you go, right? So they were kind of giving me the bare minimum of helping me fulfill what I was going to be asked to do. And I think now there's been an added emphasis of, hey, let's make sure we're helping him understand the stuff that we're going to ask him to do and give him the proper technique to be successful at doing it. So I appreciate that. And, with that being said, I'm still very raw in a lot of this stuff, but it's nice to get some exposure.
And that's trying just to have to put your hand on the ground.
Yeah, I was laughing with our tight end coach the first day. He was like, "Hey, just come with me and let's work on your 3-point stance," because I was juggling with him. I've never done that before, and so like I said, we started from ground zero and we just started building from there.
We talked a lot in the last couple of years about wanting to play quarterback. Are you sort of at peace with this, with doing this role full time now?
I don't know. I mean, I've never shied away from letting you guys know what my hope was, what my expectation was. I would say I'm at peace with knowing how the league works, right? And so things aren't up to me. And so with that being said, I'm willing to do what I need to do to help us win football games, and I'm at peace with that and helping, knowing that I'm contributing to us winning games, and I love playing, and so it creates opportunities for me to add value and be on the field and compete and do all that stuff, and I'm certainly at peace with that.
Jason, after having like the opportunity to kind of separate yourself from last year a little bit, how tough was that for you? Just it seemed like every single time you got back on the field, there was something new you were dealing with there.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly frustrating. It's hard to get in a rhythm when you start to have different things pop up, or you miss a number of games because of one injury and then a number of games because of another one. But that's part of the game, and unfortunately, sometimes you have seasons that go that way, and that's not a new thing to me, and but we made the most of it.
How long was it until like you were able to get the splint on that?
Yeah, good question. I think it was maybe like 2 weeks after the season, something like that.
Do you expect to throw some passes this year, though? I mean, do you expect to play some quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I think we've got a structure of what we've been doing in the past, and I think we'll just continue to build on that.
But you're working in meetings. You're not in quarterback meetings anymore. Is that fair?
Yeah, that is fair. I think the conversation was this is my 6th year here, and I've sat through those install meetings with QBs a lot of times now. And so, again, it's about being exposed to different areas and trying to get the proper technique of doing things that I'm going to be asked to do. And so I think the conversation was, hey, you've been a part of these meetings for a long time. Why not get exposure to somewhere else, knowing we're going to ask you to do some of this stuff?
Does your background as a quarterback help this transition?
Yeah, it helps a lot. I would say in the pass game for sure. As I approach stuff in the pass game, I kind of just do what I would want a tight end to do if I was playing quarterback for that rep. And so I've taken that mindset into the tight end position. The run game, I would say, is pretty much all new, looking at it from this perspective. So I'd say that's been the biggest learning curve.
What's the hardest part of that transition?
I mean, look, I think the element of my game of playing quarterback, there was a physical element to that, but it's a completely different mindset, playing tight end versus quarterback. And I would say it's a more mental game than it is physical at the quarterback position. And tight end, it's like, hey, you have your responsibility, and there's certainly a mental element to it, but far more physical element to playing that position than the quarterback position. So I would say that's the biggest difference and transition for me. Is just it's a completely different mindset.
Have you watched some tape of some certain tight ends in the league?
For sure. Well, I would say most of the stuff that I've done is I've watched the guys that have played here. I respect what these guys do, and I'd say my respect for what our tight ends have done here historically have just gone up as I've been in their meeting room, and I didn't fully understand what we asked them to do. And so I've paid very close attention to what they do on the field, what they do, watching film, and I've just tried to replicate what they're doing.
Anybody particularly paid attention to?
I would say that most of my emphasis has been with the guys here, so I'm a big believer of just watching the guy in front of you. And so, I really respect, Adam Troutman. I respected him when I was playing with him as a quarterback. And Nick Bennett, and I think Juwan's been able to make this great transition from the receiver room to the tight end room. And so I've watched every little thing that they've done, and like I said, just try to replicate what they're doing.
That goal line package, running that as a quarterback, is that for you one of the more enjoyable things that is that one of the more fun parts of the game for you?
I don't know. I mean, anytime you have an opportunity to score, that's kind of the icing on the cake. Sure. I don't know that there's one thing that I would say in particular. I still would say that my mindset is I would rather throw a touchdown than run one, but being able to be at the goal line knowing that you're going to need a strong physical run to get in, that's something that I enjoy for sure.
You kind of brought up Troutman. I'm just curious that now you've gotten a chance to work with him a little bit more in that position group. What's kind of the thing that really stands out about him?
About Adam?
Yeah.
I would say, aside from the quarterback room, and again, I haven't been exposed to other rooms, but I would say the tight ends are probably asked to do the most when it comes to mentally, physically. They've got to put their hand in the ground and block a defensive end, but then they're running a route against a safety or DB, and so you're undersized in one element and then you're oversized in the other. And there's so many different fronts and techniques, and you're expected to know all the different sets and what that looks like for you. And I would say Adam is a guy that we're all still learning, but I really respect his his approach to the game mentally. And I think he understands it on so many different levels. And his ability to translate, being in the film room and drawing the X's and O's and understanding it out on the football field is very impressive. I would say that's what sticks out.
Yeah, well, he transitioned, right? He could be a tight end in college, didn't he?
Adam? Yeah, I think that is true. I know that he's played quarterback at some point. I don't know what level that was.
Can you give me a sense of how you processed initially the transition that was brought forward to you from the team?
About meeting with the tight ends?
Just about when the team first told you, I guess in the spring, let's be more on the tight end room and less on the quarterback room and stuff like that. Was that difficult?
Well, I think initially I was a little bit surprised of how it was communicated, but as we've gone down the road, as I've had further conversation, I think it makes perfect sense, and I don't think the role at which what I have been doing is going to change. It's just expanding that role. And so as we had conversation about it, again, I felt like, hey, they're trying to give me the best opportunity to be successful when knowing they're going to be asking me to do things that I've never done before. So why not get exposure there? Made a lot of sense to me.
When you said the running game, you mentioned the running game transition, you're talking about run blocking.
Yeah.
Being a difficult thing. And then just real quick, on learning the three-point stance, can you give an example of, and I think a lot of people would look at what's so hard about crouching down and putting one hand on the ground. Can you tell me exactly what the nuances are of the three-point stance that's fine?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're expected, defense doesn't just line up in the same front every single time. And so when you get in a three-point stance, you have to have the ability to see everything in front of you and knowing, what the play is. We obviously have different checks. And so I think the balance is being able to move multiple directions, right? And being able to see what's happening in front of you. But then be able to explode off and have a run set both ways, or have a pass set if that's what ends up happening. So I think I'm used to, I've rushed the punter for a long time, and that's such a different stance and different technique than what this was. And it was because of the element of being asked to do multiple things on a particular play call.
Because you've done all these different transitions, you've played so many different roles. When DA or whoever it was had that conversation with you, has it been easier for you to accept because you had this background of playing different roles and making these transitions? Your ego involved, I guess.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I don't know. I feel like I'm a guy that I don't take myself too seriously. I'm an honest guy. I'm upfront with all of this, but I think it was fine. I think I'm pretty reasonable. As I've had conversation about it, I said it makes sense, and I'm good with it. That's the nature of the NFL, right? This isn't necessarily what I want. It's what's best for the team, and I'm good with that. All right, guys.
Thanks.
Because you've been able to stack a lot of days together, how do you feel like you've been doing since the last time we talked to you, which was, I guess, last week?
Yeah, I feel like I've been doing good, kind of just trying to keep up my consistency, so day in and day out, just trying to compete on every play.
How do you judge for yourself? How fine is the line between being two hands or being the perfect amount of physical, and how much of thought goes into that every play? I saw there was one flag came out. Is it your mission to take it to the edge of that, right? Be as physical as you can without going over the edge, right?
Yeah, I think as a DB, just trying to challenge on every play, and you want to reduce the amount of penalties, but at the same time, you don't want to play timid. So, trying to push the line and be as aggressive as you can be without taking it over the top.
When you watched yourself in the tape after practice, are there some times when you said, I might have taken that one too far? Or how do you judge yourself when you look at that?
Yeah, sometimes, maybe, I guess.
Colton, how much more confident are you going into year two, and what are some of the things you want to work on?
Yeah, I think just playing in as many games as I did last year, I can kind of rely on the experiences I had last year, and that kind of gives me some confidence. And then coming in and being able to compete every day, right, your confidence gets better and better. But maybe just finishing on the ball, right, trying to make sure I can get as many takeaways as possible. Those are important.
How does it?
Yeah, it's one of our strong suits. I think we have a lot of DBs that can come in and compete. If we do have, unfortunately, somebody, be able to step down and not be able to finish a practice or finish a game, I feel like we have a lot of different players that can come in and know what they have to do, but also execute it at a high level.
How does a guy like Tyrann Mathieu factor into the impact in terms of that development you just talked about coming from year one to year two?
Yeah, especially, somebody that I can ask questions and somebody who's been around the league, all decade safety, right, one of the best to ever do it. So to have somebody like that in your corner that you can kind of go to and ask for help is amazing.
Paulson, what's it like going against Mike Thomas one-on-one? What's the challenge defending him?
Yeah, I mean, just a big, physical, strong receiver, catches everything, right? Is definitely going to challenge you, on every play, right? Somebody who's going to compete on every play. So you love going up against him, and you love to have him on your team.
The jump from year one to year two, what's going to be the biggest challenge for you in that?
I don't know.
Do you feel a big jump in yourself in year two? I mean, do you feel different than at any point last year?
I think I feel more comfortable, so that helps. I feel like towards the end of the year last year, I was playing pretty well, so I feel like I'm kind of just picking up where I left off.
It seems like after drills, you and Alante, not to pronounce their name.
Yeah, Alante.
Have been pretty, like after each individual drill he has, he's right there asking you questions. Do you hear him picking your brain and things like that? How's that relationship between you and him?
Yeah, Tay's great, man. Just somebody who comes in, he beats me out here in practice sometimes, so somebody's going to come in and try to work as hard as he can, ask all the questions, has all the ability in the world, so excited to see, how he plays this year, and I think he can be a great player for us.
What's kind of been your biggest piece of advice that you've given to him throughout camp?
Biggest piece of advice? I think just day in and day out when he's asking me questions and try to answer them to the best of my ability, rely on, the experience I have, but also, letting him know that he has the ability. Playing in the NFL is different from college, but at the same time, it's not that different. It's still football, so he can come in and play, and, you don't have to wait till the second year to play. You can come in and play right away. You can come in and contribute right away.
What are your big impressions about Kirk Merritt?
Yeah, he's a good receiver, good speed, catches everything, so another guy that we feel like on the offensive side is really special and has a chance to help us out a lot.
How do you feel like Chris Rashawn has pushed your development as well?
Yeah, I think just having him in my corner, somebody who's coached a lot of great DBs with his time with the Seahawks, his time with the Cowboys, somebody who can come in, I can ask him any question, he has the answer, and then also has that credibility factor that he's been around guys that have done it at a high level, so you definitely have to respect him, and you love to have him as your DB coach.
How would you say you and Marshawn rank amongst cornerback tandems in the league?
I don't even get in on that.
Has Dennis Allen made the transition to head coach, or is he still diving with you guys on the defensive side?
I mean, anytime he can give us some advice or help us out, he's helping us out. I think he's a head coach, but, he loves defense, and then, he always wants to kind of help us out as much as he can, so if that answers the question.
Well, is there a mentality how would you describe the mentality of y'all's defense? I've been asking Cam Jordan and some of the guys on the D-line, but it feels like you all are bullies in a way, both at the defensive back position and the defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, we just want to challenge people, right? You're not going to get anything easy, you know, so you're going to have to work for every point, work for every yard. So that's kind of my mindset is that, you know, you might beat me, but I'm going to make it as hard as I can on you, you know.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.